The agenda is approving the minutes held
August 11th and 16th.
August 11th and 16th, 2020.
I mean, yeah.
That's interesting.
March.
March, thank you.
2 sets of minutes, you gentlemen have.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you from August. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item up, consider approving a renewal liquor license.
I make a motion, we approve the liquor license and the special amusement permit.
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor? Thank you. Next, approve members of the Oakland Emergency Task Force.
In lieu of what's going on, we've assembled a group of our town employees to kind of keep on track of what's happening with COVID-19 and to make recommendations, take care of several events or several aspects of how to handle this with publicity, with the social media pages, the web page, and we've got a copy of the committee with a mission statement that we've included on it, and I've got Chief Coughlin and Chief Tracy here to answer any questions. Chief Coughlin, you want to speak to this a little bit, or?
Also, specific questions. We're just meeting daily, 9 a.m. at the fire station in the dump conference room, just to get any updates. We're also will attend any video conferencing as necessary.
You got the librarians at the door. You want them in?
Why? No.
Both of them.
Okay.
Hmm?
No, we're 10 people. They weren't supposed to show up tonight. So.
Want me to tell them?
They're probably running around the building.
We're gonna try the other door out front now,
Just tell them
probably.
that you have a 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we've talked about different things. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel at this point. There's a lot of processes that have already been put into place that we'll probably talk about a little bit more later, but we've got a good committee. We've set up a structure. Even some people that aren't necessarily on the committee, they're going to be meeting with us every day. We've expanded some of the roles out to other people to have things covered. So I think we've got a pretty good structure, and try to stay abreast on the situation as best we can.
I'd make a motion, we accept this committee. Looks like a group that it ought to be.
Second.
Motion made, all in favor? Consider authorizing the task force committee to make emergency decisions required by public health and public welfare and municipal operations during the event of the COVID-19.
Okay. Basically, what we're asking for is the ability to analyze the situation daily, and if we can open up the town office, we'll do that without convening our council to give us the authorization to do that, or if we need to, we'll keep you abreast all the time over what's going on. The ability to talk to the press, which we already do that, but under this set of circumstances, to be able to put out advisory notices on our social media page and our town webpage as needed. I think that if we define the scope and narrow the scope of what this committee is responsible for, we aren't going to get you in trouble. I'm sure that you've heard one of our neighboring towns had an issue there, and this is not what we intend to do with this. This is we need to be. This thing is changing every hour. I mean, we've got information now that we didn't have at noontime, and and so. Where we're meeting at 9 o'clock every morning and we're briefing, Chief Coughlin's bringing us up to speed as far as what he's learned from the overnight, and we're able to act on it. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell.
So, like Waterville got in trouble for telling all the bars and restaurants to close when they didn't have that. And so we're sensitive to the fact that there may be things that we'd like to do that we just can't do, or you can't do without the council, or
Right.
even the council can't do. So,
And that's why I'm saying if we can narrow the scope of this right down to dealing with the municipal employees and the municipal buildings, that's all we're asking for. And to disseminate information as needed. We're not going to go to Joe Blow at the local pizza shop and say you can't do this. That's not our plan. I mean, if we have to do something that's beyond the scope that we've we've defined here, we can bring you in and talk with you, and, or, I don't even think we should be having council meetings anymore. I mean, we're gonna be trying to do something over the internet from this point forward until further notice, so, it's kind of what we're talking about. And if anybody else wants to join in on this, then please do.
I just reinforce what Bob said, especially the first one, make emergency decisions regarding public health. I think the council, if there are some major decisions, and I guess I'm not opposed to it, but with the idea that your judgment as a town manager, if there is something that you feel we should step into, have a voice in, or vote on, or just make us aware to see if there are any concerns, that you would do that. And I'm sure that's what your thinking is.
Right.
But this does, that first one does open up a lot of things
Right.
that you could theoretically.
Yeah, the only thing I want to go and reassure is, all of us professionals. We're your paid staff. You've hired us to make a lot of hard decisions, and we've done that effectively. I mean, the collective years of experience that you have sitting in this room as far as just emergency services is pretty impressive. And nobody's led you down the wrong path at this point in time, and I don't anticipate that will ever be the case. And yes, we do have good judgment, and if we find that there's something that we're just edging on, I mean, we're going to have Dave Broder on this committee as well. He's a council member, and we talk about things, and if we decide that this needs to be brought to council's attention before we make this decision, you can rest assured that's going to happen, because the last thing we want to do is get us sued or get ourselves into trouble with you guys. So. That's the bottom line on this. So, and you've trusted us for a long time. I'm just asking you to trust us a little longer.
And it's not a trust issue. I think it's more of with Waterville.
Oh, I know. I read that this morning.
A committee did something
Yeah.
that the council wasn't involved with. And a lot of people are saying, how can they do that?
Well,
The
we don't
council's
have to worry about us
supposed
making that mistake, because the governor's already done that for us.
No, in that particular area, you're right. But I think just the council is the council, and we want to make sure that if we're needed to be a voting body on something, we just want to reiterate that you get us to vote, so that
Right.
if somebody says, who made that decision? We can say the council.
Right. No, I understand. I'm not saying we're going to make decisions that's going to go and be beyond our scope of authority. We make decisions right now, and as far as this stuff goes. We're just getting the blessing to be able to take this thing and move it in this direction.
I think any decision, me anyway, I don't know about the others, we're gonna make on something like this, I'd want to refer to these guys for some help before I made it anyway, so,
Right.
I think, I trust you guys
And
thoroughly.
what I can do to alleviate it, we're gonna have our meetings every day. I can shoot a brief email out to the group to let you know, bring you up to speed on what's going on. I mean, there's nothing we're gonna be talking about that's overly sensitive that we can't disseminate through email. But I could certainly, that's part of my responsibilities as far as this committee goes, so.
And I think that's the perception, the important part is that we're still very much involved, whether it's a discussion, participation, final decision, or we don't need to make a final decision because we've been trusting you, but we knew what was going on.
Right. Yeah.
Chief Coughlin?
Just to add to what Gary's saying, I don't think Gary is going to make a decision. I don't think Chief Tracy's going to make a decision. I don't think I'm going to make a decision. It's a team and it's a committee. We're not making any decisions without, and Jan, we're in the room doing that together. And if we have daily briefings, there's no reason that we could not send out a daily briefing to the council. It's easy, email, it's all set up, so that you guys are getting a daily briefing as well in what we're looking at and what we're talking about. That way, if you guys see something or say, well, did they think of this? It's just a matter of contacting us. And if something needs to be acted on quickly versus convening a council meeting, we can act quickly, but we can always follow that up with you as the council, as the overseer of everything that's going on. So.
The thing is, just to add to that, I mean, Monday's council meeting, in my opinion, was a calamity. We had a plan in place, and I ended up bouncing all over the place after through discussion. This would help avoid that for the future. We had a decision where we were gonna go, and that ended up getting sidetracked, and I've got a library that's open right now, and I've got a transfer station that's open and at full bore. These places should be shut down. I mean, we have to assume that this virus is here in the community. We know that we have a DA from the Kennebec, ADA down at Kennebec courts that's tested positive. I have a son-in-law that's on 14 days quarantine in Sydney, so it's out there. And so it's important that we're able to make solid decisions and to move forward with some of the stuff involved in the facilities.
I have extreme comfort in the team taking, the task force taking the lead. Being where I am, we're a couple steps ahead of where we are here, and the council has had little to no input in it. They're all apprised, don't get me, there's a situation report, but there's day-to-day changes that happen so fast. If you were to wait for the council to do that, you would be days behind. Other than the fluke from Waterville last night, I mean, there's no, if you're following CDC guidelines, the recommendations from the governor's office, you're not going to run into any issues. But we still need to have that ability. If they want to change and switch modes and go to an EOC tomorrow morning at 0900, we shouldn't have to sit back and wait for that decision. They should be able to just make that decision and do it.
Explain what an EOC is for those who don't know what it is.
It's an emergency operations center. We're running one right now in Augusta, which is very lightly manned. One person's there. There's a hot tip line that runs into the EOC. All our information goes into the emergency operations center, and then the police chief, fire chief, city manager stops in now and then, and they disseminate the information. They're all making decisions under one umbrella, under a unified command, if you would, and they're working on all the projects together. So instead of everybody just being out and about, there's one central point for the information, and they disseminate from there.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'd make a motion, we authorize the task force to make the emergency decisions they need to keep us informed.
Second by Mr. Early, all in favor?
Gentlemen?
Move on, town manager report.
Okay, the report that I've got is I actually supplied you with a letter that I'm planning on putting out to the public tomorrow if this gets approved. This lays out in hard facts over what I'm looking for each department, starting with the code enforcement office, all the way down to the town office. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of peruse that, and if you have any questions about it, please let me know. We're going to go, I'm just going to jump right down to the transfer station before we start. We are going to be closing the recycling building because that's our place of contact. As far as the household trash, it's going to be normal hours. We're going to have very little contact with our customers. The thing is, and I said this on Monday, that if we end up having an employee that tests positive or that's got the symptoms and we have to quarantine them for 14 days, it's going to be a problem for us because we're not overly employed. And so this is about the safety of our staff as well as the safety of the people coming through the door. Library, I'm proposing that we shut this down altogether. We're the only library right now that's running anywhere in the area. But it's going to be fully staffed, as I said. We're going to be allowing drop-offs and pickups. This is something that we're going to work out the nuts and bolts with if this is approved. Town office, we're going to remain closed. Today we didn't have a single customer come to the door, is that correct? The one that I talked with, that was it. Yesterday we had 2 registrations that took place. We used the mail slot, Jan wore gloves. We took the paperwork and got it all taken care of. I'm anticipating, as time continues to go on, that people are going to utilize the online stuff, which is a good thing, because the more people get accustomed to that, the less foot traffic we're going to have in the town office once this thing clears out, and it's not going to be stressful for because we get stretched thin when tax season and dog stuff and everybody's coming into registered vehicles. I mean, there's sometimes 20 people in that lobby, but most of these people can take care of things online. So there might be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow on this. Public Works is going to be business as usual. No person's going to be allowed, public's going to be allowed in the building, but contact's going to be very limited with our Public Works people. Code enforcement, he's still going to be operating. He had an event last night where it was our new technology. Dave kept me apprised of that last night, half the night. I was getting texts on it.
I was impressed myself,
Yeah,
so.
it was pretty, we've got Zoom, which we're able to put the public over in this room here. Our people who are doing the
Planning board.
planning board was over in the Atlantic room, and we're doing this teleconference. And we had people from out of state that was participating on this, so it was a pretty impressive operation. And that's the new world we're in, and we're able to step up to the plate on that. So we're gonna keep that business as usual, except for people who won't be coming in to talk to Dave, they'll call up, and if there's an appointment where he has to go out and inspect the property, he's still gonna be able to do it. So we're not killing any services. We're just changing how we do business. And the thing is, the number one concern is the safety of our employees. The second concern is the safety of the public. I mean, because if we don't have employees working here, then we don't have a business or service that we can offer. So we need to keep our people from getting sick. Any questions on that?
Don?
Comment first. I think you guys did a good job.
Thank you.
It's, well, it provides services, it provides our employees a chance to keep working and get things done. Clarification question. The town office will be closed to the public, which is fine. Staff will be working, that's great. Town office can be reached at that number or that. What kind of things will the town office be able to do or not do after they call in? Like, if they call and say, I have a brand new vehicle, can I bring down the stuff? Are we gonna process those things?
There's not a lot of new cars selling right now, but.
No, there could be things that
Right.
somebody needs to.
That would probably be it. And and the thing is, we worked through that on Monday. We don't know if that's gonna be continued, but we wanna have the ability to keep that going and maybe shut it down. If we find that there's a bunch of cases of COVID-19 in the town of Oakland, we may just say, enough, we're done with it, because we're not gonna.
No, and the only reason I ask is because we're telling you, you can reach us at this number here, but what kind of things are we